this morning comes from Google for Startups. Her name is Nina Levchuk. She is leading the sales team that focuses on startups and the technology scene and VCs. And she's been at Google for, I think, over more than 7 years and is also was one of the leaders of the Women Initiative at Google. Welcome, Nina.
Good morning, everyone. How are you guys?
Great to have you. This is our little music to welcome you.
Yeah, just waking up everyone in the morning, right?
So yeah, exactly.
Hopefully everyone gets the coffee.
Where are we catching you this morning?
In Berlin. So actually very close to the Project A office as well.
Cool. So, Google is a very famous employer. I guess a lot of people are also wondering, how did you get there?
Wow. That was just, that was the one, as I always saying. I have a long journey through the FMCG, consulting, startups as well environment in Silicon Valley. And then I just met Google, and since there 7 years we are together. And I'm still keeping my passion and focusing on helping startups together with my team. And now I ended up here in Berlin.
Now, your sales team is a pretty novel thing at Google. I think the DACH region is the only region that actually has a sales team that focuses only on startups and VCs. Can you tell us a little bit about your team? How big is it? What does your day look like?
Absolutely. Happy to tell. Actually, to be very frank, like Google for Startup by itself, right? It's a very big team that exists globally, and they're focusing on many programs, including such programs like female founders immersion programs. And by the way, today at 10:50, right after my interview, there would be 5 amazing female founders who are going to pitch to the investors and to the coaches their business idea. So please join us in 10:50 as well. But beside that, in Germany specifically, or in DACH, we have a team that is focusing actually to finding and spotting new unicorns and really helping them to navigate through their full journey of coming from the seed stage and growing to the very big and mature startups. And this is where our uniqueness is coming, because basically we have launched this team a bit more than a year ago, and currently like trying to support the top startups across the DACH region. Yeah.
I mean, I think probably everybody who's watching us is on the hunt for the next unicorn. Can you share a little bit how you go about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, fair to say. You asked me as well how big of a team. I think it's over more than 20 people who specifically only working on the DACH, and we trying to meet the startup very early, right? For example, we just recently launched our ads onboarding program, where even if you never actually try to build your digital marketing with our products, you could come in, register, and you will receive like direct support from the Google. So like dedicated person who will help you to navigate through the crazy complexity. And to be honest, when I, for instance, work in startup and when we only started, I remember how challenging it could be to be overwhelmed by so many product offering across Google, Facebook, and other many companies. So it's really critical and important, right, to help on the startups on very, very early stage. And then basically when you're ready with us, you are building your strategy, we're giving you resources that could help you to optimize your digital strategy. But as well, when you're ready to grow globally, we will be there for you to provide you with all possible data and tools that could help you to do it and prepare for that. And then you're coming to basically to my team, whereas my team is focusing already on the startups that I would say at the stage B, right, around B, round C, and they're ready like to scale globally and really position themselves big around the world. And so we will help you to make it happen, and we'll work with you hands by hand, I would say. And how we're spotting, I think, through the many different formats that currently exist. I mean, now in Corona, it's getting harder and harder, right? But then most of the startups exist online right now, and we are online. So like this is a mutual meetings that are happening all the time, and I'm really looking forward as well today to meet at your hangout area or pizza lounge, or how it was called, like fun lounge, right? Yeah. So looking forward to meet new unicorns.
You already mentioned Google has a few talks today. I want to start with one that you are holding, that is winning international customers through the power of digital marketing. Can you give us a little bit of a sneak preview on that? I think it's this afternoon around 3 for everybody who's interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please join us. This would be very hands-on masterclass. So it's not just about how amazing Google products are, but it's about how to use, what is the best approach, how you could really do your strategy by using our tools, and what the free tools exist as well, to support you as a marketeer within this journey. And basically, this masterclass would be, we'll start with a great story of one of our startup Frontier Car group that scale in very short time across the world by using a data-driven approach. So everything about data, offline to online, especially if you're a startup that are facing both sides, offline and online, and really need to connect both strategies together. This is, I know, from my experience, one of the most challenging steps. How to really connect all those data and make it sufficient. This would be masterclass for you. But as well, if you're only purely online or pure play, as it's called nowadays, this masterclass would be very useful, because we're going to show you how to prepare your company and your resources to go globally, and how not to make mistakes. Because believe me, through so many years, we learn a lot about what the most common mistakes startups are doing when they are going internationally. And now we could really give you how to basically advices to avoid these mistakes and make it really efficient for your business.
Before we talk, before we talk about those mistakes that you see a lot of times, I want to ask you about those resources that you talked about. I mean, a lot of startups and VCs are struggling right now because of Corona, and the first thing that people cut is their marketing budget. What is your advice in such a situation?
Wow, that's a very good question. Interesting enough that when the first lockdown happened, we actually ran the webinar together with VCs, and we have as well VC from Project A participated in our webinars. So we were discussing, okay, so what's happening and what resources are cut and what the right strategy to do. I think it's very unique to every single startups based on their business model, because through lockdown we actually saw both ways, right? We saw the startups that were gaining a lot because suddenly they start to provide the service they are providing become super relevant and only available online. So in this case they will see organic growth, but in the same time they were gaining through the paid marketing a lot of leads in cheaper price, right? So that was their golden moment to get and generate a lot of leads and buy it with a lower competition. And then we saw the different situation when the businesses who are providing services, or if it's their services were connected to offline operation, right? They were really in some cases get rid of half of their teams. And of course, marketing budgets were impacted. But then, we actually created webinar how to recover. So if you want to learn more about how to recover, I'm going to put here the link for our platform as well in a second. And you could actually hear how to recover quickly if you cut your marketing budget actually during the lockdown, and how to build on the strategy. Because there is obviously impact. If you're not active for a while in the marketing channels, you're losing your positions, right? And then you need to really find smart way to recover fast and not to spend all money that you have in your pocket left, right?
Yeah. For all of those who are just joining us, this is Nina Levchuk talking to us. She's from Google for Startups, and shares some tips on what to do in the crisis and how to move forward. She also has a talk later, winning international customers through the power of digital marketing. And a quick reminder, you can ask questions. Now is your time. If you want to have some advice from Nina, what to do about your marketing strategy, what tools to use, what new products. This is your chance right now to ask questions in the chat. Nina, you mentioned earlier you see through your experience that startups and your customers do sometimes the same mistakes over and over again, and you've learned about it over time. Now, this right now is a time where actually mistakes are very costly and people try to be as efficient as possible with their budgets. So I guess it's a better time than ever to talk about how to avoid those mistakes. Can you share some?
Absolutely. And actually, would be fair to mention that 2 other masterclasses that we're going to have addressing those mistakes as well. So we have another 2, and one would be very interesting about overall how to reach your business goals with the search automation, right? This is a complex approach, and like professional digital marketers are spending a lot of time to build, like, as we call it, holistic, right, approach. So if you really want to know, if you're in the beginning of your journey or you're already advanced and you really want to see how the good look like holistic approach, so in order to really make your strategy right, this would be very good masterclass for you as well.
When and then again?
I need to check, but it's like we're going one after one. So if at 3, so that might be starting around 1 p.m. or something. But if you just go to the Around the World and type Google, you basically will see all of our 4 or 5 presents here. And then another one, actually one of my favorite one, is Google Trends, and it's about how really to engage with your consumers early on, how to understand their behavior using our data, and how to build your marketing strategy, right? So all those 3 topics are addressing actually the mistakes that are happening, because when you are a startup, right, and you have limited resources, limited budget, you need to accelerate. First thing what you could do is to learn about your consumer and really understand your market very well. And this is where Google providing those free tools to do it in a customized way, specifically for your business model. And then when the startup is already, let's say, positioning himself in their local market very well, and they start to think about, okay, now I need to go internationally. The common mistake, what I see, like the first of all, they under-evaluating the resources, right, that they have in place. They start to ask themselves, okay, can I use my German customer service to serve UK clients, or can I just maybe find like the way just to do it through the chats and not really spend too much time understanding what the behaviors actually in the new markets. So all about understanding consumers, that's the one part, right? Then the second part, what is happening? Okay, I understand my consumers in local market. I might understand already a bit consumers in the market where I want to go, but actually even making step back, what the markets I need to go, right? How to find the right market, how to not get to the trap where you're entering the market and competition is so expensive that you basically burn your money, right? So that's another thing. We know many startups who were like, trying entering and then were actually very famous startups. I will not going to mention the names, but I think, guys, we heard many stories when the startup entering the big markets like US, etc., and then deciding to put on pause because it just didn't work out in terms of money or in budget. So how to avoid that? You're going to learn as well in my masterclass. And then the last one that I already mentioned, but not least, of course, is like how to connect offline to online, right? And this is, I think, data activation and how to really link those 2 parts and make it in the right way. That's definitely what every marketer should learn if they have ambition to go globally and make it in the right way. I see there is a question actually start to come.
Yes, there is. I saw it too. So somebody asks about the split between B2B and B2C. The question is, what's the split of investments these days between B2B and B2C?
I think this question would be the best to ask to Florian Hanneman, for example, right, to our partner in Project A. But if I could readdress this question a bit in a different way, if you ask me with what part of the startups we're working mostly, right, under Google for Startups umbrella, we of course serving equally B2B and B2C. But when it's coming to the digital strategy or digital marketing in my team, right, so ads product or everything around ads, products. That would be mainly B2C, although we do have see more and more startups like software enterprise, for instance, right, that are B2B, but they are very active in the online digital advertising, and they're becoming big customers of us. But then when you look at the cloud, for instance, right, Google Cloud, you will see that their majority of the clients would be B2B. So it's very, like, in terms of our resource investments, I really believe it's not about ratio, but it's about where opportunity and where we could be the best partner for those startups.
I guess a lot of people are wondering, that's also what this question is addressing, what kind of startups are you looking for at Google for Startups?
Yeah, so we're looking at every startup that have ambition to grow and become a big startup, right? So, and I see there is some as well question about what type of startups could really benefit from the masterclass. So any, like, literally, it doesn't matter if you're at the pre-seed stage or only idea stage, or you're already actually in the very late stage. It will be useful for you. I would say two first, like automation and trends, would be super useful for every single stage, but especially for the startups who are only in the planning stage, right? And my masterclass, I would say it's a bit more advanced, right? But mainly for the startups who are ready to run the world. But if you educate yourself early on, and you could do holistic planning in future, why not? So I would say use this opportunity and start to educate yourself early on.
Okay. I see there are a lot of more questions pouring in right now. For example, Oleg wants to know, will you talk about mobile apps marketing, including social media, meaning spending budgets mainly with Google rivals such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, very good question. So, we do have actually recorded masterclasses on mobile apps on the platform Google for Startups. So it's free. So feel free to go and check them out. Here today, we're gonna, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the search part, there would be some talks a bit about optimization on mobile strategy. In my particular part, winning international growth, it will be more focused, as I said, on automation and market finder, so how to find the right markets and engage with consumers. But we're gonna hanging out with my colleague after that in the lounge. So if you have particular question about mobile apps marketing, feel free to come and join myself, Magda, Bjorn, and we will be happy to answer your question on that part.
Okay, cool. Will you be in the Run the World cocktail party, or will you be at Wonder?
At Wonder. Yeah, Wonder. Okay, there is a cocktail party. Okay, I didn't know about cocktail.
So there's one at Run the World. I think it's more like chat roulette sort of logic. So you actually speed date with people, and in Wonder you can actually do a lot of people.
Yeah, so we will be at Wonder straight after masterclass, hanging out there minimum for 30 minutes. So we'll be very happy to talk.
Cool. And we have some more questions. Tamara wants to know, do you feel that now with everyone and everything going digital and global, is it going to be easier to reach farther markets?
That's a very good question, right? So, farther markets, expanding more and more and entering early on. I definitely see the trend that competition is a rise, right? So, definitely 5 years ago to enter such markets like US or UK would be like way easier than now, right? And then, products are so diversified. So even if you could look at the very similar business models, you see that two startups, let's say founded in Berlin with the same business model, could go in a very different ways, right? One will go to the Germany, Austria, France, Spain, Italy, but another one will go with the same business model to emerging markets. Both startups will be very successful, but because they don't want to really spend their money on the competition where another a strong startup exists, they're choosing other paths. And I think this is good question to talk about, because it's all about where you see you could really still grab the market share and where you could really provide better offering, right? And if you have enough resources to position yourself with this better offering. And that's why, like, you know, in our masterclass, we're going to talk about how actually to do it, how to do this analysis and what the data to use in order not to enter to the markets where you're just going to burn out your budgets. That we saw, like, through our experience a lot, what's happening with startups is they're not doing accurate planning and accurate analysis.
So I see our next guest is already waiting in the digital waiting lounge. This was Nina Levchuk from Google. Thanks so much for joining us this morning and for your insights. You can catch her later around 3 with her masterclass on digital marketing and how to win the global market. Thanks, Nina.
Thank you, Hannah. It was my pleasure. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.